Welcome, everybody, to Under the Radar MMA. This is Jay Yoder from Lindsay, California, with the co-host Juan Nunez. He's a Gracie black belt coming out of Caracas, Venezuela. How's it going, Juan?
What the hell, man? It's been a hectic. The week has been a lot of different techniques. You know, especially riding bicycle at the uphill. 4 times this week by far, and I do not want to sound too far ahead. However, I need to brag about myself. The uphill situation is just getting easier each time, you know, and I'm excelling at least 4 miles.
Nice. Pretty soon you'll be flying, man.
I keep it simple, and I understand why by doing endurance exercise, such as a bicycle, it automatically plays difference with endurance situation athlete. You know, I can punch better, different techniques. Just stick away with basic.
Yeah, I hear you. It's kind of like even running, like anything that works out your legs. When you're sparring, you're on your feet the whole time. So like bicycle, all that stuff helps your endurance.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it?
It doesn't, man. It doesn't. And then, hey, Juan, let the viewers see that badass shirt you have.
Well, this is a
nice
front looks.
Kumite.
90s movie about mixed martial arts, system against system. Frank Dukes.
You get that shirt when you get your black belt, correct?
Mandatory, man. I mean, you need to understand each belt and what it means and what it represents for each discipline and system.
Awesome. Well, let's get into this episode. This is Under the Radar MMA episode number 7. We're going strong here. This week, we're going to talk about UFC 258. We're going to talk about the co-main event first with Maycee Barber versus Alexa Grasso. Then we're going to jump into the main event with Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman. Then Juan's going to run us down some striking in the move of the week. And then we're going to touch on the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. So let's get started with UFC 258, which is February 13th with the co-main event. We got the females up for the flyweight, 125 pounds. And this is Maycee Barber versus Alexa Grasso. I'm excited for this fight. What's your thoughts, Juan?
Alexa Grasso, Mexican boxer, decent at defending takedowns. She might be able to bring different problems to Maycee just because of the precision on her attacks, setting up different punches with the leg kicks, and especially with the inside leg kicks. She could always set up her combinations. It's sad to see an athlete like Maycee. What's her last name? Barber?
Barber.
Maycee Barber. Yeah, I believe she's from Milwaukee. She trains under Ben Askren, which I personally met him in San Francisco at Gilbert's Academy, the very first one, Bayshore, 2555 Phelps Street. He stopped by. I thought Jake Shields brought him in. And he started teaching different basics, fundamentals about wrestling. Excellent high single takedowns, utilizing 3 points level between your adversary and the guy who is applying the technique. So just to come through, I will say Maycee definitely have an advantage on the wrestling, because the wrestling, Ben Askren, when he closed the distance, I understand how excellent the transitions, because it was a conversation. I believe it was John Morgan, which is a journalist, MMA junkie, I believe. brought it the situation that Ben Askren could compete against Khabib Nurmagomedov in a wrestling battle, and it could be very competitive. You don't have a winner right off the gate. However, Maycee could easily learn the basics in Jiu-Jitsu with a guy like Jake Shields. Jake could teach her everything. Maybe she could grow a little bit differently if you think about Sarah McMahon. She's just a wrestler. She never learned the jiu-jitsu aspect. So I believe by doing like a few different classes with a guy like Jake Shields, he could perhaps let her understand the different skills that she could bring beside having an amazing wrestling. However, I'm not choosing a winner. I believe it's going to be a very competitive bout.
Yeah, actually, Maycee Barber, she was over there, you're right, with Duke Rufus's Jam Rufus Sport, and Ben Askren and the Pettis brothers were over there. And she actually, for this fight, has moved camp. She's out in Chicago now with Izzy, and with Izzy Style, if you remember the wrestling coach that used to be in Albuquerque with work with John Jones and Greg Jackson. So she's over there with him. I believe she's living in his basement even, but she's also training at Valley Flow out there, which I believe is more of a striking camp. And there's some UFC fighters there as well. I think Pena is over there, so working with her a bit, I believe. But so she's working heavy on her wrestling with Izzy. Izzy's phenomenal wrestling coach. He's done amazing things over in Albuquerque and doing great things in Chicago. But as far as Maycee Barber, very, very powerful hand. She likes to go for the KO. She's heavy and she goes for it. So it's great to see that she's working on the wrestling, kind of like you were suggesting, possibly working with a figure like Jake Shields, which I believe she probably is over at Izzy's camp. But she's coming off her first loss to Roxanne Modafferi, which we've covered, I think, last week or the week before, Roxanne, but via decision in January of 2020. She does have 2 knockouts in 2019 and 2018. So very heavy hands. I'm kind of leaning towards Alexa Grasso based off technique only. I think her technique's phenomenal from what I see when I watch her. She's coming off a win versus Ji-Yeon Kim in August of 2020, a decision. I would say that going in this, Maycee Barber has a better record. Grasso's kind of win, loss kind of record. In 2019, she lost a decision. Same year, she also got a win via decision. And then 2018, she has a loss from a submission. So they're both actually moving up in weight from 115 to 125. That's correct, Ron, right?
Well, I just want to point it out to the ceiling right now. Maycee Barber, she is going to compete at flyweight, and Alexa Grasso, I believe she's going to move up. And I don't understand the reason. I believe both of them could be very competitive at the strawweight division. However, I'm sure they do have their own negotiation tactics among their management teams,
Yeah, I'm not sure Maycee Barber's intentions of moving up from 115 to 125. I watched an interview with her this morning, and she sounds like she feels more comfortable at that weight. I know for Alexa Grasso, it's she, in January of last year, she missed the 115 by 5 pounds. She came in like at 121, and she looked very, very like she could barely move. So I think for her, she probably belongs at 125, just can't make that weight anymore. And then, but I'm excited because Grasso's got just phenomenal combos. I love her flashy kicks. I don't know if that's like the Mexican style now with Rodriguez doing the same thing. I hear Rodriguez, but just she mixes it up well. The clinch, she'll take you down. I think she's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So I heard she's been working heavily on her jiu-jitsu. She will go for a submission or takedown. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't know if that's the best decision against Barber, but I think out of technique and just mixing up the combos and kind of working, because I feel like Maycee Barber, if she doesn't play a wrestling game, that she's going to come out with strong, heavy hands. If she plays that game, I think Grasso's the technique will win. I believe the power, if she could survive some of those shots. Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of am going Grasso for this fight just based off technique alone.
Well, interesting point you bring to the table. I hate to come too far ahead. I believe Maycee and her adversary Grasso, they both are going to bring it, and I believe it's going to be very, very close match. You know, I hope to see great technique, especially you know, from both of them, not to come too heavy on their feet, and then start see how well the kicks play out, especially the inside already, the coming through with the inside low kick and then setting up with whatever combination. You know, every style is different, and you know, you and I understand that they can punch. However, what about the difference? You know, the different system attack. We're gonna see the Mexican boxer with a great wrestling and decent jiu-jitsu on Barber.
Yeah, I think you know, when Barber goes for those big swinging shots, if she, you know, obviously she's working with Izzy for a reason. She's probably coming in with a very strong wrestling mind to probably get away from the combo striking of Grasso. But I believe that if she doesn't, if she gets caught up in Grasso's fight where she wants to strike, which, I mean, if you look at her past fights, she likes to do that. Those big looping strong shots that Barber likes to throw, I think those straight combos that Alexa Grasso throws in with the mixing of the kicks will be perfect to defeat that. Again, if you're a person that listens to this and you like to make bets on the fights, I know a couple people from my town listen to this and they ask me, hey, who's going to win? I'm going to put a bet. I said, hey, pick the opposite of me because I'm a notorious loser when I pick a fight, but that doesn't stop me from picking. But yeah, I got Grasso winning this. I mean, both the records, you know, where is it? Maycee, you know, Maycee Barber's got 8 wins, 1 loss only. So she's got 5 knockouts and even 2 submissions. And then Alexa Grasso, she's got 12 victories and 3 losses with 4 knockouts. So when you look at, you know, that depends on who they're fighting. MMA math is, you know, never makes sense, but you know, 5 knockouts from Maycee Barber, you know, I mean, if she works on that wrestling, she could be a very strong opponent, but I just think Alexa Grasso, her technique is so tight. She's been kind of quiet up leading to this fight. Couldn't find much information on her. Seems like there's more about Maycee Barber. So I don't know do you know where Alexa Grasso trains? She's still training in Mexico, Monterrey, I believe.
We better Google it if you have it right there, because I read it early this week, and you know, for some reason you know, the situation with Ben Askren working on details and wrestling, you know, giving the memories. I'm not leaning on Barber. However, I want to keep it on the silence.
Yeah, it sounds like she used to train out of Mexico City. So, but I don't know if she's still there or not. Like I said, it's hard to find up-to-date information before this fight. But yeah, so I'm really excited for this fight. I think it's good. If it stays striking, I think it's going to be amazing. Even if it goes to the ground, it could be a good MMA fight all around. But I want to see these two stand and strike, and I think it's going to be fun because I think Barber's going to go for that knockout, and Grasso's going to work her technique. So I'm excited.
I'm definitely tuning in, bro. Trust me on that.
February 13th. Don't forget it. All right, Juan, let's move on to the main event of UFC 258, and that's Gilbert Burns, who's the #1 contender versus the champ, Kamaru Usman. Also a good fight, you know. Kamaru Usman's been killing division, and Gilbert Burns definitely earns that shot. Gilbert Burns, 19 wins, 3 losses. He has 6 KO and 8 submissions. Kamaru Usman, the champ, 17 victories with only 1 loss and 7 knockouts. So strong wrestling from Kamaru Usman. I mean, he's defeated the top of the division. If he does get this victory, I'm not sure where he's going to go. We could talk about that a little bit later. But what's your thoughts on this fight, Juan?
Just made by the system. The difference between Gilbert Burns and Kamaru would be the switching situation. How real quick both of them could be away. You know, Gilbert Jiu-Jitsu definitely technically could bring some problems to the champion. However, wrestling against the fans, I give the difference to Kamaru Usman. One of the reasons of my belief is because the clinching situation, the style, the system that was applied differently against George Masvidal, that was one of the ways to control him. the better man that night was Usman. Masvidal competed. He didn't quit. He competed 5 rounds. Gilbert Burns, I believe, is tougher than George, and I believe Jiu-Jitsu wise is much better. And according to different coaches, I heard that as well.
Yeah, Gilbert.
I'm gonna stay away from prediction. However, I can see both of them having moments while competing.
Hey Juan, don't be scared, homie. Make a prediction. Just kidding. You're very respectful. I get it. But Gilbert Burns, phenomenal jiu-jitsu player, high level black belt, very high level. I believe he from the research I did, he won the jiu-jitsu world champs in 2010 and 2011. I believe one was no gi and one was gi. He competed, against Gary Tonin, another very high level athlete in Flores 4 in 2019. Great arm bars, great rear naked chokes. His arm bar has definitely transitioned into MMA, which is awesome. He's coming off a win over Tyrone Woodley in May of 2020. That was a decision. March 2020 has a victory over Damian Maia with that first round knockout. We were all hoping for that jiu-jitsu match, but he KO'd him. September 2019, the win versus Nelson as a decision. And he has 2 other wins in 2019, including a submission over Davis. He did lose in 2008 to Dan Hooker with a first round knockout. It was a few fights ago. So I don't know how that plays into the MMA math, as I always say, don't listen to. But and then Kamaru Usman, July 2020, as you mentioned, the win versus Masvidal via decision. Masvidal hung in there, but just dominating performance by against the fence in wrestling by Kamaru Usman. December 2019, almost an even stronger win in my opinion versus Colby Covington. I mean, Colby Covington.
Well, again, dude, I hate to come too far ahead. However, the same situation with Maycee and Grasso. For these 2 different fighters, I believe they need to stay on a schedule. The reason is simple, it's going to be a very competitive match, and right after the fight, maybe 2 weeks of lighter pace of workout, is still keeping the momentum. I will say don't stop right away unless it is mandatory, whatever, but I believe that it's going to bring a great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu. Boxing skills is going to be definitely a chess match, and keep it simple, sting like a bee and be straight about it.
Yeah, and he's a freak athlete, very strong. He's gone 5 rounds with like I was talking about Colby Covington and George Masvidal, and Covington he technically got the KO, but at the end of the fight. But Colby Covington with that endurance put it on him, and Kamaru Usman was the better man that night. Woodley decision, Dos Anjos a decision, Damian Maia decision. His last 5 fights have been beast of fights, and he's proven to be the better man. He's the peak athlete, very strong, takes you out there and smothers you, and uses his combos to get close and get that takedown, stays busy, doesn't let you rest, very confident. It's going to be a big challenge for Gilbert Burns, the biggest challenge in his career, I believe. But I think Gilbert Burns, don't sleep on Gilbert. Gilbert, it's hard because he has such great jiu-jitsu, but Masvidal with that heavy wrestling, sometimes wrestling could, in MMA, really stop that jiu-jitsu. But I think Gilbert Burns is so high level, he's going to be going for things, I hope. And so, and Gilbert Burns with the knockout power as well. So, man, on this one, I can't really make a prediction. I guess emotionally, my prediction is I'm rooting for Gilbert Burns. But if Woodley wins, Juan, what does Woodley do next? Like Leon Edwards is number 3, George Masvidal is number 4, Colby Covington, does he rematch Colby? Colby's number 1 right now. I don't know. I don't know what he does. Does he go up in weight? I think he should, honestly, unless he wants to get that Colby rematch, which I don't think he is excited for since he doesn't like him. What's your thoughts on that one? If Kamaru Usman does win, what's his next move?
The best thing we could do it's about to see how everything play out. I believe Cobleton could book it. We can book a match with Masvidal. I believe Masvidal could come straight forward at him. However, Kobe could utilize the wrestling advantage and make it a dog fight.
Yeah, that would actually be very exciting. They used to be roommates, big training partners together, and there's tons of video online of them in their apartment drinking and wrestling for 20 minutes straight. Like it's fun to watch in their living room. So if anyone could used to Colby Covington's wrestling pressure, that would be Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, I would like to see that fight. It's crazy because if Israel Adesanya wasn't going up in weight to light heavyweight to fight the champ, Jan Blachowicz, Kamaru Usman versus Izzy would be a great fight too. I think that would be a great fight, but there's really nothing. Does he go? I don't think he can make lightweight because he's like a 6-foot guy, very muscular. So I guess he just stays in that division and keep doing what he does. But I guess I still don't want to count out Gilbert Burns, but I like that. I like George Masvidal versus Colby Covington.
Let's book it right now and see how it play out. I understand they have different system. However, they practice in the American Top Team Academy for a long time.
Yeah. They I don't know if you've seen those videos. Yeah, they used to party together a lot, and they would just the wrestling. They would just go 20 minutes straight. Because that's one thing about Jorge Masvidal. He might not be the strongest wrestler, but he's trains with lots of very talented wrestlers, and he doesn't give up. He keeps going and going and going, like we saw when he was defeated by Kamaru Usman. Never gives in. But that being said, Juan, let's move on to the move of the week. I'll pull it up here. Juan, take it away. Got the video playing right here.
I understand we're drilling a safety Thai boxing drill, which before I start everything, we grab from our balls of our feet. Start doing it from a right 45 stance, holding 2 kettlebells, could be 10 or 15, and then do a 10 reps. Just 7 different times, and then start warming up, gear up and chin pads, do a few calf kicks, set up your different style system of punching. And in this specific exercise was taught by Muay Thai from Thailand, Jongsanon Vertex, who is one of the few guys to brought Thai boxing to Northern California, West Coast Muay Thai. Academy, the location I believe is Far East San Francisco, right next Cesar Chavez. We do combination each, especially on Mondays. We do combinations like one side do the defense, one side get the attack, and then we do like a kicking, punching, calf kicks, and moving out of the way. Set up, do it like that. All that aside, and then get in a safe environment to get some sparring class practice.
Nice. It looks like you guys are is this like light sparring going on right here, or is it more drilling?
It is just a drill. It's just a go situation, setting up the cross, setting up the uppercut, and the job is done by the guy who is defending and the guy who is attacking. In this case, I'm the one attacking. My partner, he's just making sure he's not getting a stiff jab in the nose, making sure he doesn't get the right cross in the midsection. He don't hit a left uppercut with my gloves on, setting up the middle kick and the cross. Friendly, however, we make sure that no one's everyone it's alright at home, and simple workout. Get the Muay Thai, get the technique, be aware of your surrounded, and
Now, Juan,
practice your system. Say what?
Now, Juan, as a shorter, chunkier guy who likes tacos way too much, this question is: I see you throwing some head kicks here. For people like me, head kicks were always hard. You know, I've gone close, about to the chin, depending on the height of the opponent. But what is your suggestion or types of stretches you would suggest for someone who doesn't have the flexibility to get a head kick, how they could maybe over a period of time get their kicks higher so they could perform a proper head kick?
Wonderful question, man. I always see that with coaches, the difference about bringing technique, executing a perfect technique. And the simple answer it would be meditation. You know, understand working a long stretch away. It could make your hamstrings, your calf stronger, you know, and abductor stretching off and build the muscles, and start working on it. You know, practicing drilling with the partner before sparring, or even don't even spar with your partner, and then set up the dojo challenge. You know, like a step in a different gym and then do the boxing with somebody else. You know, it's our job to be in the side with see that with your coaches as well.
And maybe stop eating so many tacos. That could help. But okay, Juan, I see you throwing a Superman punch. Is that correct?
Definitely Superman punch, and then follow up with the middle kick, and then I move out of the way.
Can you break down a Superman punch in case some of our white belt viewers don't know what it is?
Definitely. I was kind of surprised at first. One class is you could pick it up and then start do something about it. Meaning, like you fake let's say your stance is a right 45, your hands are already on guard, and then you fake a right knee, and then you utilize the rhythm, and you place the shoulder, follow up the bicep area, and then the bicep follow up with the forearm, and then it goes to the knuckles, the two first knuckles from your left, and then you set up the goal is to set up the cross on the nose of your adversary, and then follow up with the middle kick. It is an excellent technique, and the advice was utilize the technique perhaps once a round. That's enough.
Yeah, you know, and I think kind of going off the fake of the right knee to set up the punch and the Superman punch, you know, my lower level expertise, you know, but I do know that throwing fakes and feinting and stuff like that sets up a lot of shots, you know, not only in the Superman punch, but even feinting, you know. About 2 years ago, I had a low level MMA fight, and I got the first round knockout with heavy with the jab, and then feinting the jab and coming over with that cross. So it's very, you know, I see that a lot. And I was working with my girlfriend at the time, Gina, who trained at Fairtex and UFC gym up in the Bay Area. And she really helped me set that up. And it was kind of like a GSP plan, but you see it a lot in the UFC, these people, you know, setting up a punch over and over and over. You see in boxing too. And then that person gets used to that punch and starts defending it. But usually when you defend something, you open something else up, and then you could really set up that hidden punch or kick that you've been waiting for. So feints and stuff like that, I think, are a huge part of upper level striking that I would strongly suggest, you know, everyone train, you know, like, especially if you're sparring, that's like the best time for me anyways, to work on that. But I'll let you, the expert, Juan, say what you think about that, setting up power shots with feints.
It is important to be precise, understanding each punch. You cannot be thrown with everything. You know, you cannot be throwing like a full power each punch, because first we get tired. Eventually the speed is going to slow down, and then our adversary could be a well-versed boxer with a great footwork, and we need to be aware of the footwork situation. And if we're going to throw, for example, jab cross, the last punch, it could be a powerful punch, jab cross, boom. Or we could do jab, craft, left hook. With the left hook, we can bring it, but then we're moving out of the way as well. Like by doing a tiny step with the left and then moving out of the way with the right, doing like a half circle, and we're out of the way. We set up with two jab combination coming forward if necessary.
Yeah, it's even like even in grappling with jiu-jitsu, like you let the opponent think you're going for that triangle, and as they try to defend that triangle, you can switch up to an arm bar. Same thing if you're going for rear naked choke, they start defending, then you switch over to the arm bar. It seems to be in all levels of MMA. These the higher levels where it seems like the beginners just go for that one move and they try to force it, but it's like, hey, if you're going for that one move and they adapt, then you must adapt.
Most definitely, and especially since it's not even a sparring, it is just a drill. We can throw a little bit heavy, since it's the time to do the practice. So everybody is different. I grew up learning in a system, and I follow up with my system, no matter what it is. I could be whatever gym, could be China. I can be there straight, and I'm gonna still do my job.
Now, do you have any advice for people starting off with striking? Maybe they've been practicing a few months, maybe half a year, maybe even a year. I know it depends on your level, but a lot of people want to get in there and start swinging for the fences, going for the knockout and trying these flashy kicks and spinning back fists without getting the proper jabs and proper crosses and proper leg kicks down first. What is some of your advice on people starting out with sparring?
I will say trust your coaches and make sure to see that with them.
Yeah, it's it's I don't know what it is, especially with men. They get in there and they start hitting pads for the first time and they want to just put all their power in it, and then a minute later they're gassed. I hit pads with some friends here every once in a while, and it's just I gotta constantly tell them, hey, like I know you can hit hard, like you don't have to prove nothing, just hit. Make sure you're working the technique and everything like that. But anyways, Juan, well, thank you so much for that. Again, that was Move of the Week, striking this week with Cesar Gracie black belt, Juan Nunez. All right, again, thank you, Cesar Gracie black belt, Juan Nunez, for that Move of the Week breakdown. Let's talk a little bit, Juan, now about this boxing match coming up, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. This is, I believe, happening, is it April 17th, I believe they're going to be fighting. So we got a retired MMA fighter. I believe he retired from MMA, Ben Askren. And then he's competing against, the YouTube star, Jake Paul. That's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. So he has a couple knocks out one against an NBA player, and the one before that against another YouTube star. Forgive me if I mix them up. I mixed Jay and Logan Paul up because they're twins and I can't keep track of who's who. But what's your thoughts on Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, Juan?
Jake Paul, boxer, great athlete, worked with George Masvidal, definitely in the right track, definitely doing what he needs to do to get the job. With all that aside, I believe that Ben Askren have a different style. He come from a wrestling pedigree. And like we talked before, he's awesome at wrestling, college wrestling, All-American Wrestling, NCAA. Very good coach, and he definitely is about to be in a tough challenge. Regardless of the fact of the matter that Ben Askren, great mixed martial art career outside of the UFC. However, that doesn't mean anything. It means he's doing boxing against a guy that probably he have better striking. He's longer reach. He understands boxing, and he's working with George Masvidal.
Yeah, I saw that.
Definitely tough challenge. However, I'm not counting out Ben Askren. I saw him live doing mixed martial art rounds at the Bay Area with Jake Chills at Fight and Fitness, San Francisco, downtown San Francisco, by the Van Ness Street. Toe-to-toe battle. They battle. Jake always better on Jiu-Jitsu, meaning getting the technique one step ahead of Ben Askren for sure.
This is Jake
Uh,
Schultz.
Jake Shields,
Okay.
uh, one step ahead of Ben Askren for sure. However, the wrestling situation it was tough. It was great, especially working from closing distance.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to judge this because you got a UFC fighter or a MMA fighter, I should say, with Ben Askren, who's not known as a striker, who's a wrestler, but obviously no striking. Being an MMA fight, you're going to have to deal with that. But knowing to use the striking and to be a heavy grappler, he almost reminds me of the old fighters of the days, like a Matt Hughes or something, where it was wrestling, 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 wrestling. The strikes were only to get through the wrestling, that being said, obviously he knows how to strike. Then you got Jake Paul, who's been training heavy in boxing, but hasn't really fought a boxer. And if he has, it's been in the training camp. I have seen some of the training footage. It's awesome, but it's just hard to say who's going to win. Honestly, I think I think you have to give it to who's better at their specific sport, and I would give it to Jake Paul over Ben Askren. I think Ben Askren was never known as a strong striker. I think he used striking always get to grappling, very heavy grappling in all his MMA fights. He does know how to strike. I think he's too slow. He's fighting a younger guy who's strong, heavy, fast, powerful, and maybe not so much fast, but maybe I think compared to Ben Askren, he'll be faster. So I'm going to give it to Jake Paul, but Ben Askren, he's calling out the 7th round knockout of him. That's what he said. He's going to get in the 7th. So one thing I can say about Ben Askren, he's a smart dude, very smart dude, and he's only got a month to train since they signed this fight, but Ben Askren's a smart dude, and he probably has a game plan. Maybe he's going to gas this dude out. I don't know. Maybe he's going to pull him into the later rounds because we haven't really seen Jake Paul do much besides knock out some non-boxers. So if I was Ben Askren, I would do that, man. Just see how far he could go. But I'm giving it to Jake Paul. I believe it's going to be a knockout.
I understand, Ben, how the technique to cut it out. Ben Askren. The question would be, how tough is Ben Askren? How tough is the man?
He's tough.
Toughness, we understand he's tough. He fought in the UFC. He fought a Bellator champion at welterweight. It's not MMA. You're doing boxing with a younger guy with excellent, precise power. If I have the power to pin the results in MMA, I will say, yeah, Ben Askren's gonna take him to the ground if he closes the distance right.
Yeah, Jake Paul would not even last in a grappling match at all or MMA match with Ben Askren. But I think if we were talking about Dustin Poirier or a Conor McGregor or something like that, a known striker, I'd give him a little more weight. But since Ben Askren hasn't really been a known striker even in MMA, it really confuses me why they're putting this fight on. I know Mayweather was supposed to fight Jake Paul and that got mixed up. But it doesn't make sense to me. But I know Ben Askren just likes testing himself. He had that wrestling match where he got dominated by the best wrestler in America, Justin Burroughs, and but he kind of knew going in it was going to be a tough challenge. But he likes to challenge himself, so you got to give him respect for that. Staying busy, boxing kind of confuses me.
Definitely. Just by start a side hustle, understanding working out on the boxing. Even the understanding the wrestling, it is your pedigree, and maybe we have to do certain exercise of each discipline to get the proper connection, and set up your athletic skills.
Yeah, completely. So, well, that's about all my thoughts on that match. But April 17th, I don't know. I'm sure you could look it up and watch it somewhere, but I'll probably watch it. We'll see what's up. I'm curious to see how Ben Askren holds up. But anyways, that's all I got. Anything else, Juan?
I'm definitely tuning in, man. I'm definitely tuning in, and I understand it's gonna be just different, man.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Why not? I like it. It makes me feel like UFC 1, 2, or 3, where you got these different types of fighters coming in. It's exciting because UFC is at such a high level where everyone's an MMA fighter now, usually. So to see this kind of, I hate to call it a freak matchup, but to see these totally two different polar people step in a ring and see what happens, it's always exciting for me. So I will always watch that. But But yeah, anyways, that being said, Juan, this is a great episode. Great talking to you, buddy. Again, let's wrap this up. This is episode number 7, Under the Radar MMA. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell so you get alerts. Again, new episode every Tuesday, and Move of the Week is in that episode, but then we clip it out and release it every Friday for you guys. If you just want to get straight to the move and Juan's breakdown. But again, this is Jay Yoder calling out of Lindsay, California, talking to co-host Cesar Gracie Black Belt Juan Nunez of Caracas, Venezuela. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.